What's up? It's Mike, and you better believe it, it's the Christmas season. Now everyone knows with the age-old adage of Christmas comes three things. Those being good food, friends and family, and me talking about Super Mario 64 and the 3D All-Stars collection. All things synonymous with Christmas, I'm quite sure. Like 99.9% sure. The year is 1996, and the next console generation is going to be revolutionary. Together as the human race, we finally discovered the third dimension, which allowed us to do crazy things like not just moving forward and backward. It truly did change the entire landscape of gaming, as games became more immersive, more gripping, and much, much more expensive. In the beginning though, it was a wild west. On one hand you had Crash Bandicoot, and on the other hand there was Bubsy 3D. I've seen games in alpha look better than that. But there has been one game that has supposedly stood the test of time. One game that set the standard for all of the games that followed. One game that showed what the third dimension could do. One game that changed an industry forever. And that game was tennis. Or Super Mario 64, depending on who you ask. Super Mario 64 was released on the Nintendo 64 in North America on September 29th, 1996. And I have just one question. Where the heck did Mario 4 through 63 go? Other than that unsolvable mystery, the game gained a huge positive critical reception on its release, and Super Mario 64 soon turned into the main reason to buy an N64, until Smash Bros. Came out. It also marked one of the biggest and best transitions from 2D to 3D. While other series like Castlevania tried emulating that success, they were unfortunately not as lucky. Nowadays, most people revere Super Mario 64, calling it one of the greatest games of all time. Now tell me that with a straight face when Super Mario Galaxy is literally right there. Oh, I can see your face curving. Mario 64 has been re-released on the Virtual Console over probably 1 billion times. Don't quote me on that. And it even got a DS remake of sorts, featuring completely new playable characters including Wario. Oh, that's exactly what the old game was missing. The most recent re-release / remaster of Super Mario 64 was on the Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection for the Nintendo Switch, featuring what I would say most people consider the three mainstays of 3D Mario, those being Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. 3D All-Stars has been called a cash grab by many, and all I gotta say about that is, boy did it sure work. Actually, before we begin talking about the sequel to Super Mario 63, let's talk about the 3D All-Stars collection as a whole. Super Mario 3D All-Stars was announced at the Nintendo Mario 35th Anniversary Direct, after being heavily rumored to be on the way. And like I said earlier, it contains the titans of 3D Mario, Mario 64, Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. Weirdly enough though, Mario Teaches Typing 2 is completely absent from this collection. What the Nintendo? Not only is that a solid selection of games, it has the full soundtracks to each of these games available through a music player. This doesn't sound like a lot, but considering the last All-Stars on Wii had a CD with sound effects on it, I very much like the music selection here. The game also plays a different song on the menu every time you boot it up, which is kind of neat. Speaking of the menu, I find it very efficient, and that's probably the best way I can put it. It isn't anything mind-blowing, which for a collection featuring some of the greatest games of all time, Super Mario Galaxy, it's a bit unfortunate. I wish there was a bit more personality here, but the overall layout is nice enough, with a demo video for each game and some history. So overall, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, not considering the games, is pretty lackluster. It's nothing really special, but the presentation does get to the point, and I can give that credit where credit is due. When you throw the games into the equation, however, things start to get much, much more interesting. Earlier, I said Super Mario 64 on 3D All-Stars was a re-release / remaster, and let me explain why. From what I can tell, the base game is here and is exactly the same, just underneath some small improvements. The collection does use a later, updated version of the game, which was only released in Japan. There aren't too many differences between this version and the North American version, but the two major differences I could find were the removal of the backwards long jump and the addition of rumble support. I'm honestly kind of disappointed with the rumble support here though. I wish Nintendo implemented some kind of HG rumble functionality here, with bonking into walls or when you're flying, but unfortunately the rumble rumble is just reserved for a slight vibration that really doesn't add on to anything. One thing that does drastically add on to Super Mario 64 and the 3D All-Stars collection is the updated UI and textures. The textures less so, but the UI much more so. Everything just looks so much cleaner and high res. From the text in the text boxes to your health bar to the number of stars you have, it just makes it look way more modern as a whole. The improved textures too can be noticeable, but not as much as the clean looking UI. Another thing they updated were the button prompts, which were changed to align with both the Joy-Cons and the Pro Controller. It's something very small and wouldn't really leave an impact on the game either way, but it's a nice little attention to detail. They also updated the prompts in Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Galaxy, so not bad, Nintendo. Not bad. For the most part, I actually really enjoy how Nintendo did Super Mario 64 here. The art style of the original game is still here, just under a bit of updated visuals to make the collection worthwhile. The only thing I would have maybe preferred more would be a completely remade game with Mario Odyssey visuals, but for the angle they were going with, I think this is pretty good. Now, would I prefer a 16:9 version that ran at 60 FPS? Most definitely, and I really hope they at least add that on as an option in the future. But I think being able to play Super Mario 64 efficiently and portably kind of offsets that. The soundtrack of this game still sounds great nowadays, with well-known hits such as Slider and my personal favorite, Slider. But again, when the Super Mario Galaxy soundtrack is right next to it, it's just a bit unfair. Oh, don't mind me, just listening to Slider. But I want to answer your burning question that I'm about 99.9% sure is in the back of your head right now. And that question is, how has Super Mario 64 aged? Pretty decently. Pretty okay. Pretty, yeah? Oh. Okay, put your pitchforks down, it's not that bad. In fact, I would say compared to other games of the era, this is probably aged the best. Looking at you, Crash 1 level design. But out of all of the games in this collection, I found this one to be the least consistent. While pulling off side jumps feels good when it works, there are some times when I do the input and I just jump backwards. This happens with the long jumps as well. And while I can get them much more consistently than the side jumps, there's still one or two times where the game just says no. The movement in general feels kinda stiff, but at the same time, this stuff was revolutionary back in the day. And you can still see glimmers of it here, just not as much as I would like. One of the areas the controls in this game excel in still is the swimming controls. I think swimming controls genuinely peaked with this game. It feels almost effortless to get through the water, and it makes those water levels actually bearable for me, a feat very few games have ever achieved. This game also introduced the punch to Mario's move kit. I'm sure they'll use that to greater efficiency and expand upon it in Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Galaxy, right? I don't know, does Smash Bros count? One thing that will forever remain timeless in this game though is the level design and the structure. Each of the areas you visit are so memorable and iconic, from Bomb-On Battlefield to Shifting Sand Land to Lethal Lava Land and to the Haunted House. The locations here are super nice. Each one is a nice little open area, which perfectly complements the structure of the game as well. Each world has a certain amount of power stars you get to progress through the game, an idea that set the standard for Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy, and almost every other 3D Mario game to follow. And then there was Super Mario 3D Land. Nobody still knows what you are yet. One thing that is essentially unique to this game until the release of Super Mario Odyssey was the fact you could get the stars in whatever order you want the majority of the time. With this level of freedom, the player gets to choose what objective they want to tackle next, and that leads to a much more personal connection they can form with the game, due to the fact that one person could have completed the game in a completely different way than another person did, making the game that much better. So, what are my overall thoughts about Super Mario 64? I'd say it's definitely a better game than Super Mario 47, but nowhere near as good as Mario 12. And that was also the first game in the 3D All-Stars collection. I can't wait to hit up the sun rays and the beaches of Super Mario Sunshine. You know, maybe not the best time to cover this game. What's up? It's Mike. And I love the holiday weather. It's typically not freezing outside, snow is easily the best form of water, and it just makes everything feel that much more jolly and peaceful. Now let's throw that all away and talk about Super Mario Sunshine, just in time for the holidays. The year is 2002. Sony's PlayStation 2 has a tight hold on the video game industry, and Nintendo kinda just hung out in the corner with a lunchbox and a Ghostbusters ripoff, until on August 26th, when the long-awaited sequel to Super Mario 64 finally hit store shelves. And although naming it Super Mario 65 would have undoubtedly made it more successful, it was instead dubbed Super Mario Sunshine. Ah yes. Who could forget everyone's favorite enemy from Super Mario Bros. 3? And you're telling me they named an entire game after him? While Sunshine doesn't feature the angry sun from Mario 3, why? It did feature an entire new world to explore, with something that hadn't been seen in a Mario game prior, or even a Mario game after. Super Mario Sunshine has a vacation-like tropical aesthetic, and it doesn't just stick to that with one area, it permeates throughout the entire game. Every single area in this game does its best to make you feel like you're on an island resort, and compared to the grasslands, desert, snowland, or whatever you have for most of the other Mario titles, I actually found this aesthetic change quite pleasing. Before we get more into the game, let's talk about two things. First, the improvements that 3D All-Stars adds to the game, and the thing I find the most interesting about Super Mario Sunshine, that being its divisiveness. First, most of what 3D All-Stars does just goes towards improving the presentation of the game, and I find the uplift here helps a lot more than it did for Super Mario 64. The various cutscenes in this game look much nicer, and I'm pretty sure they got upscaled. While the game looked great back on the GameCube, the HD facelift the game got here makes it look better than some modern titles. The biggest improvement over the original to me is the 16:9 support. Going from the sometimes cramped feeling of Super Mario 64 to this is like a giant breath of fresh air. This also leads to my only major complaint with this version of the game, and it's the fact that it's still locked at 30 FPS, just like the original. It hurts more when you realize that Super Mario Galaxy got the 60 FPS treatment, even when it's technically newer than Sunshine. To be fair, they did pick the right game to give 60 FPS to. The second thing to touch on is the divisive feelings the Mario community as a whole has towards Sunshine. The general consensus is all over the place when it comes to this game, and before the Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection, I had never played this game before. It was a bit before my time, and I grew up with a Wii and Super Mario Galaxy. So, which camp do I fall into? Do I think Super Mario Sunshine is the best thing Nintendo ever spat out, or do I think it fell pretty flat?
Super Mario Sunshine! Woohoo!
Super Mario Sunshine starts off with Mario getting a water jetpack and being thrown behind bars. You know, your typical Mario affair. Oh, you remember Super Mario Bros. On the Nintendo Entertainment System when Mario gets thrown in jail? After that, he's instructed to clean up the whole island or else he's going back into Slammer. So this game really just spits in the face of everything Splatoon stands for. When Mario isn't switching his profession from plumber to janitor, he's collecting shine sprites, this game's equivalent to Power Stars. And he's collecting them with some of the best controls I've ever played with. Seriously, the jump in controls from Super Mario 64 to Super Mario Sunshine is more like a leap into outer space, something we'll also be doing later. You know, I'm pretty convinced Super Mario Sunshine controls better than I do in real life. I really don't see people talking about the movement in this game enough. It's so much fun. Jumping around feels solid, but isn't really a Mario game if it didn't. Most of all the moves that Mario 64 introduced transition smoothly here, except the punch? This isn't playable. Other than that tragedy, the dive in this game makes maneuvering around fantastic. I would complain about the lack of a long jump, but the dive is so satisfying to use, I can't really argue with the decision. The side jump returns as well. I'm not sure what it was about Super Mario 64, but the issue I had performing side jumps completely evaporated when I started playing Sunshine. And same with the triple jump. They also introduced the spin jump. I'm sure they'll use that to greater efficiency and expand upon it in Super Mario Galaxy, right? I don't know, does Smash Bros count? Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Well, not as perfect as Super Mario Odyssey was, I think Sunshine took a big leap in that direction. You know, I've praised the controls for Sunshine a lot already, and I haven't even mentioned Flood yet. You remember that water jetpack I mentioned around 400 words ago? Well, that water jetpack has a name, thank you very much, and that name is Flood, the Flash Liquidizer Ultra Dousing Device, aka the shameless Luigi Mansion tie-in. When I went into Sunshine, I thought Flood was essentially gonna be a power-up. It just helped you here or there, in very specific scenarios, but oh, how naive I was. If Flood was a power-up, then Flood is one hell of a power-up. You know how in all the action movies when the instructor tells the main character, you need to treat this weapon like it's a part of your body to master it, or something like that? You know what I'm talking about. Well, in terms of Super Mario Sunshine, Flood is the weapon in this case. And not only does it help in those specific circumstances, like getting over large pits with the hover nozzle or getting up to high places with the rocket nozzle, it also opens up the floodgates to new ways to move and exciting platforming challenges. See what I did there? Because I sure can't. Spraying water and then diving turns every surface into a slip and slide for Mario, letting him zip along long distances. The hover nozzle allows for easier tight platforming and acts as a get out of jail free card while not being very easily abusable. So if you guys can't tell, I love Flood. So let's talk about my personal favorite part of the game, the time where you don't have Flood. Every area has a lovely beach/resort aesthetic as talked about earlier, and while initially I loved the artistic choice, I did start to miss the creative environments of Super Mario 64 a tad bit. In each of these areas though, there is a secret stage, which essentially is a small platforming challenge without the use of Flood. And I found these to be wonderful. The secret stages really highlight the amazing regular controls, and all of the ones I played had a decent level of difficulty while still being fair, except the one time the camera repeatedly wished for my demise, and doing all of it while listening to a bopping rendition of the Super Mario Bros. Overall theme makes the secret stages one of the best additions to Mario Sunshine. Oh, don't mind me, just listening to Secret Course. It's time to talk about something I didn't even refer to in the Super Mario 64 episode, that being the story. While the story itself isn't all too different from the regular Mario affair, except, you know, getting thrown in jail, it's the stuff that surrounds it that makes it interesting to me. First off, whoever decided to add voice acting to this game deserves a large raise.
What's this icky paint-like goop?
Jokes aside, while the voice acting is very hit or miss, it gets the job done, and honestly, it adds to the cutscenes fairly nicely. Just don't expect to be surprised when you look at the award Super Mario Sunshine earned and there's no Oscars there. What? Are you kidding me? The cutscenes in this game, minus the voice acting, aren't terrible. I've seen much worse, and there's just something about them that's charming. As far as I can tell too, Super Mario Sunshine was the first major Mario game that featured full cutscenes. Nowadays, it's fairly common to see, but I'm sure the people who played Sunshine as their first Mario game were quite confused. I mean, I was still confused, and this by far isn't my first Mario rodeo. They also introduced some Mario standards into this game, like Bowser Jr., Shadow Mario, and the fact that at some point Peach and Bowser banged. You know, the craziest thing is that won't even be enough. Now that neither of us can unsee that, let's look at Delfino Plaza. It's a pretty good hub world, and although I prefer the hallways and open courtyard of Peach's Castle more, I do think Delfino Plaza is much bigger and better in some areas. You can even explore the sewers to a good remix of the NES Underground theme, which is a pretty neat touch. Overall, I feel this game has held up a lot better than Mario 64. The controls picked up really nicely here, and they feel much more timeless than Mario 64's controls. The camera didn't hate me, for the most part, and the story, while similar to most Mario tales, has some fresh twist on it to make it more engaging. The tropical environment also provided for a cool getaway from typical Mario tropes. The voice acting was there, and to be completely honest, I like this game more than Super Mario 64. Scratch that, I forgot the Sandbird level existed. And that's all I have to say about Super Mario Sunshine. Honestly, I was really pleasantly surprised with this game, and I can definitely see myself replaying it over the likes of Super Mario 64. But now, it's finally time to cover my personal favorite game of all time. And not only that, just in time for Christmas. Wow, it's just great how those things work out. But anyways, it's finally time. It's finally here. It's finally time to talk about Super Mario Galaxy. What happened? Where am I? Who am I? Wait a second. I remember this place. This is my old set. I can barely add and subtract in my algebra class. But why is the chair blue now? Feels good to be back. What was that? Oh, I just asked myself this, but who the heck are you?
The real question here is, how are you?
You know, I was doing pretty well until everything glitched out on me and the primordial school bus dropped me off to wherever the heck this place is.
I'm gonna take a shot in the dark here and ask if you said Super Mario Galaxy 12 times over the course of 20 minutes.
Did I? Super Mario Galaxy, 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 Super Mario Galaxy. Oh, I guess I did.
Oh, I knew it!
Okay, but how did you even guess that?
Well, it is really the only way in here.
That's neat, but where is here?
I mean, you're right there.
Thanks, that really answered my question.
No problem. I've been called the most helpful person in this MikeSpike for about a year running.
Oh, good for you! Wait, did you say the Spike Sanctorium?
Yep, and I can even give you a map if you want.
This is just a picture of a tennis court.
Anytime. You got any other questions?
Yeah, I just have one tiny question. How the heck do I get back?
Finally, a decent question, but the answer to it is you have to complete a challenge I never could. Complete a challenge that is almost too hard for most mortal men, and a challenge that has locked many into eternal imprisonment. That many a person being me.
Oh, spit it out already.
Fine, I was trying to hype it up, but here you go. You have to complete Super Mario Galaxy on the 3D All-Stars collection, and find no flaws with it, thus truly making it the greatest game of all time. Are you willing to accept?
And you're telling me you've been stuck here for a year trying to do that?
Trust me, it's much harder.
Oh, I got this, no biggie.
We'll see about that.
Don't worry, Mr. Optimism, I'll get this done in no time.
I mean, there is something else.
Hey, Ray of Sunshine, don't worry about it. All I have to do is talk about Super Mario Galaxy. What could possibly go wrong? Released on the Nintendo Wii in 2007, Super Mario Galaxy was put in development immediately after the development of a similar style game. That game, of course, being Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. Galaxy's main gimmick per se was the movement around spherical platforms, a bit of technology stolen from the Mario 128 tech demo, which consisted of 127 Marios running around on a shape-shifting landscape meant to simulate the power of the GameCube.
There were 127 Marios? I thought it was Mario 128.
Oh, I was just pulling your leg. There were actually 126 Marios.
I gotcha.
The other big part of Mario Galaxy's development was the fact that it was set to be a more large-scale Mario adventure, following advice from the man, the myth, and the legend himself, Shigeru Miyamoto. This is obviously displayed in the game, something we'll dive into a little bit later. On release, critics heaped praise upon it, with some calling it one of the best video games ever made, getting several 10 out of 10s from major outlets. And then there was GameSpot, giving it the lowest score out of everyone with a 9.5 out of 10. This is unplayable. And the sales seem to agree with the critics, with Super Mario Galaxy chilling at the number 3rd spot of the highest selling non-bundled Wii game. Some things are just too powerful for this world, and one of those things is Wii Sports. To this day, Super Mario Galaxy is praised by many, and as someone who grew up with said game, I can tell you the praise is definitely warranted. The gameplay is rock solid, the amount of new and fun ideas being thrown at you the whole time is almost nauseating, in a good way of course. The presentation is amazing, and while the game looked beautiful even for a Wii game, the 3D All-Stars collection somehow makes it look even better. And the music, don't even get me started on the music. See, I like this game. As we have before, let's talk about the improvements that are in the 3D All-Stars port. And it's pretty much the same song and dance as Sunshine in 64, with some things added specifically for here. Everything looks much cleaner, from the text boxes to Bowser's beautiful forehead, and honestly this spruce up makes the biggest difference out of all of the games in 3D All-Stars. This may sound weird, as I just said a couple seconds ago that it already looked good on the Wii, but trust me, this game on the Switch could easily be mistaken for a game that was just released in the past 3 or so years, even though it actually came out 14 years ago. Ouch. The other thing they did was make the Joy-Cons, or the Pro Controller, whichever you're using, your new replacement for the Wiimote pointer, and it works very well. Occasionally you have to recenter it, but it's not a big deal at all. But that's not all. As for when you're playing in handheld mode, which it's absolutely insane to think about how you can just take this game completely on the go, at least for me. You just used a touchscreen as your pointer. While it's not exactly a perfect solution, for the options they had, this was likely the best one. And the craziest thing is, we haven't even gone to the best change they made to Super Mario Galaxy here. Unironically, the best change they made in the 3D All-Stars Collection version of the game was the ability to spin just by pressing the Y button. I know to the unobserved eye this sounds very minuscule, and although I don't mind the waggle too much back on the Wii, having the option to just press Y and spin makes playing through the game even more comfortable, especially when playing in handheld mode. You also get less misinputs, though I never had a major issue with the motion controls to begin with. Using a button to spin just feels so natural, and Nintendo didn't have to add it in at all, but the fact they did makes Super Mario Galaxy just that much better. One last thing about the 3D All-Stars version, and that's that the game runs at 60 FPS just like the original. Playing Super Mario Galaxy on the Switch feels so smooth, and I don't remember a single instance of lag. Honestly, playing Super Mario Galaxy on here feels so smooth, it's really hard to go back to the other games that just run at 30.
I mean, who needs those games anyway? We're only talking about Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine here.
Exactly! So yeah, the updates to Super Mario Galaxy on the 3D All-Stars collection is pretty sick. And I haven't even gotten to the base game yet.
I would complain about you wasting my time, but I've been here for a year already. So what's a couple minutes more?
I feel that while Super Mario Sunshine exponentially increased the quality of the controls from Super Mario 64, Super Mario Galaxy essentially just honed in on what Sunshine did without reinventing the wheel. The name of the game is If It Ain't Broke, Don't Fix It, and Galaxy does a wonderful job at that. The triple jump and the side jump returned from 64 and Sunshine, and while they removed the dive move, they did bring back the long jump. And as a long jump connoisseur myself, I'm totally down with the move. It feels especially satisfying in this game, as you could just long jump for an insanely long time over the sides of planets and the like, and it just feels great. Everything feels more responsive than ever, and adding the spin move on top makes this one of the best controlling games I've ever played. Even back on the Wii with the Wii Remote and Nunchuck, this game felt good to control, but the fact I can use the Switch Pro Controller is amazing. I've always dreamed of using a conventional controller since I first played Galaxy, like with my classic controller Pro or something, and having it now makes me realize I had a pretty good dream going on there, except for the fact it's reality now, which makes it even better. Speaking of which, am I in a dream right now?
Are you?
So remind me how you got to be the most helpful person in the Spike Sanctorium for a year running again?
It helps being the only person here, except for...
Ah, it all makes sense now. Going back to the spin move, it acts as essentially a Swiss Army knife for this game. You spin to hit levers, you spin to attack enemies, you spin to kill Bowser, you spin to extend your jumps, you spin to fly to faraway worlds, you spin to hop to small planets, you spin to pay your taxes. It really is a one-size-fits-all move.
Wait, you're telling me all I had to do was spin this whole time?
Yep.
I'm paying my accountant way too much.
Between all the new moves Super Mario 64 added and the addition of Flood and Sunshine, I really think that the spin was the best addition to any of the 3D Mario games. It really is that versatile. It also helps ease players into the unique style of platforming that this game flaunts, with it being spherical and gravity-bending platforming, with a bunch of different twists on it throughout the game to keep it feeling fresh. Honestly, it's such a cool game mechanic, you could probably get 2 games just out of that idea alone.
Wait. Didn't they make a second one?
I mean, it's on this collection, so there probably isn't.
Sounds good to me.
Lastly, for the gameplay, I'll touch on the various of what I like to call "I'm here because the Wii mode is big cool" things in this game, including the bubble blower, the ball rolling, and the manta ray sections. All I can say about those is that I really think they put a neat spin in this game.
That was an awfully nervous laugh.
Oh nah, I just have a condition where I nervously laugh every time I talk about the manta ray sections in Super Mario Galaxy.
I must say, that's completely understandable.
Before we get into the presentation, I want to really quickly touch on 2 things. First, the hub world, which is called the Cosmic Observatory, and also the introduction of Rosalina. The Cosmic Observatory, while not the biggest hub world nor the most active one compared to the other 3D Mario titles, is easily my favorite one. That could mainly be due to the fact of how it slowly and obviously gets bigger and brighter over the course of the game, and something about that is just so charming, and it really makes you feel like you're progressing through the game. And quickly about Rosalina, I don't want to spoil too much about her because for what feels like the first time ever, However, Nintendo actually seemed to care about the story of one of their characters for once, providing an entire backstory for her through a storybook you gain access to more as you progress through the game. The story isn't anything life-changing, but it's extremely cool that Nintendo added it in, making the Mario world actually feel like a world for a change, with real people and real motivations for their actions and the like.
Wait, you're telling me that Nintendo not only added a backstory to one of their characters, but included it in-game too? You might be onto something with this whole being in a dream thing.
I'd say my intuition's pretty alright. After that, let's talk about the overall presentation of Super Mario Galaxy, as I think it's one of the biggest factors that makes this game completely unique to any other title in the storied Mario franchise. This is mainly due to how the game approaches itself, and if I could describe it in one word, it would undoubtedly be cinematic. Miyamoto wanted a larger scale Mario game, and it oozes from every inch of Super Mario Galaxy, from the story to the music and just the premise as a whole. Now, how do you make a Mario story large scale, you ask?
I have a suggestion.
Well, what do you think they did?
Bowser doing something other than kidnapping Peach and taking over the Mushroom Kingdom?
Actually, you're pretty close. I think when the story writers heard what Miyamoto wanted, they took the whole large-scale thing a little too literally. The game starts with you heading over to Peach's castle, actually very reminiscent of the introduction to Super Mario 64. This time, however, it takes place during the Star Festival, an event that happens every 100 years in celebration of a comet that one time just dumped a truckload of stardust on the Mushroom Kingdom, which the Toads took and turned into the Power Stars, another homage to the pre-prequel of Super Mario 66. Now, it's Mario's turn to celebrate the stars, but on his way to Peach's castle, something extremely unexpected happened.
Oh, did Peach get kidnapped?
Kind of. So Peach gets kidnapped, but this time, Bowser decides to stop messing around. And not only does he kidnap her and all the Power Stars, he literally kidnaps the entirety of Peach's castle by yanking it off the ground after cutting it out of the earth with lasers from alien UFOs. And if you can't see how Nintendo is trying to be cinematic here, I don't know what to tell you. Also, just thinking about the entire premise of this game. In almost all the other Mario games, you're just traversing the Mario equivalent to Earth, which if my math dictates, is only one planet. In Super Mario Galaxy, however, you're literally traveling through the vast void of space, and if my math dictates correctly again, you travel to a little bit more than just one planet. But this isn't what sells the more dramatic and cinematic tone of this game to me. No, not by a long shot. But what does is the music. I've wanted to talk about the music of this game for years, as Super Mario Galaxy has, without a shadow of a doubt, the best soundtrack to any video game ever made. I just said how I wanted to talk about this game's music for years, and even with all of that time to think about it, some songs in this soundtrack make it almost impossible to describe with just words. From the second you open up the game, Super Mario Galaxy slaps you in the face with orchestral bliss, and it doesn't let up for the rest of the game. From the first galaxy you visit, to the music in the Cosmic Observatory that actually builds up to this beautiful and whimsical piece by the end of the game. To the amazingly epic final boss music. This is the first Mario game to feature a completely orchestrated soundtrack, and it perfectly adds to the more cinematic and larger-than-life nature of Super Mario Galaxy. It would be impossible for this game to pull off what it does without this soundtrack. I think the best way I can describe why the music is so good is because it perfectly amplifies and adds on to everything around it, which is what I think the best thing a video game soundtrack could do. All of this comes together, and in my opinion peaks, with one singular song from this soundtrack, which most people agree on is the god amongst a sea of titans that is the Super Mario Galaxy OST. That song being the one and only Gusty Garden Galaxy. It's just so perfect. I'm no music major, and I know next to nothing about the composition of music, but holy heck, what they pulled off here should probably be considered of witchcraft. No song has ever sent shivers up my spine and made me feel happier than this one song, and I think it perfectly encapsulates the best game of all time, Super Mario Galaxy.
Yo man, are you okay? I'm also considered the best first aid person in the entirety of the Spike Sanctorium for a year running now.
No, I'm fine. I just have a condition where I get a bad cough every time I'm about to say something bad about Super Mario Galaxy.
But this game isn't perfect. Oh, it sure isn't. You have to reset your pointer so many times it gets frustrating. The swimming controls are awfully imprecise and really annoying to use. Sometimes you just run around in circles. The manta ray levels, oh, and the bubble blowing and ball rolling games don't have a place here at all, and they're literally just there to add needless motion controls, and it's not even subtle. The camera isn't great, all of the bunny chasing missions are just super annoying and the antithesis of fun, and I just really hate the ball rolling missions.
Is this what a leaf blower feels like?
Hey, I'm sorry man, but I guess you failed. You just found several flaws with Super Mario Galaxy, so I guess it's not the greatest game of all time. Guess you're stuck here with me for a while.
But don't you get it? Yes, Super Mario Galaxy has its flaws. And yes, the ball rolling sections are really bad. But in an objective sense, nothing is perfect. I'm definitely not, and I assume you aren't either. Every game has its flaws. From the most critically acclaimed games of all time, to Sonic Lost World on the 3DS. My point is, Super Mario Galaxy may not be objectively perfect, but to me, it is. The gameplay is the standard done perfectly, the story is properly amped up with the rest of the game to make it interesting, plus with Rosalina's own personal backstory, the presentation is unique and contributes to an amazing experience, and the music is some of the most beautiful and moving sounds to ever grace both the video game and the music medium. Super Mario Galaxy was the game that introduced me to Mario. It was the game that made me want to make videos in the first place. To make something that would make other people smile and laugh, just as much as that game did for me. Super Mario Galaxy made me who I am today, and that's why it's the greatest game of all time, and why no game will ever top it. Boy, was it getting hot in there, but nothing gets me going like a speech about how Super Mario Galaxy is the greatest game of all time. Are you me from the first episode? Yes and no. Oh, I can finally see that most helpful person in the Spike Sanctorium Award finally paying off. Well, it took me a while to figure out myself, but from what I can guess, I assume I'm from a branching timeline where when you didn't,
I decided to say Super Mario Galaxy 12 times in a row really quickly after I was done producing the Switch episode.
Well, I guess us MikeSpikes are pretty good at falling into the saying Super Mario Galaxy 12 times in a row in short succession trap.
You could say that again.
Sure, maybe some other time, but I think I finally proved to you that Super Mario Galaxy is the greatest game of all time. So now, how do I get out?
Well, it's not exactly me you have to convince. We'll have to talk to him.
Alright, so who's him? Also, you never answered my question earlier on why your picture of a map is just a tennis court.
There's a reason for that.
Oh, it's you. Super Tennis.
Insult me once, shame on me. Insult me twice, shame on you.
Did I? Super Nintendo Entertainment System Online. Super Tennis isn't that good either. 6 out of 10. And for the last time I promised, Super Tennis. Tennis was better.
Oh yeah, I guess I did that.
You may have passed the test, but the only real way out is through me.
Hey, that's not what I agreed to.
Let's just say our terms were flexible.
No! No!
Yo man, that was stupid of you, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. But you won't be fine if you can't beat him. Remember the past, man. Remember the past.
Think of the past, think of the past, think of the past. What does that mean? That's so cryptic. That's like something from the first Zelda game. What does think of the past mean? Wait!
Nintendo Entertainment System Online. NES Tennis isn't really that good. 4 out of 10. One of my particular favorites is actually Mario Tennis I'm just kidding, it's just tennis. Sometimes the hit detection is a little wonky, but I find it quite addictive considering how simple the game is. And it somehow still manages to be better than Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. That game just can't catch a break.
Hey, Tennis on NES. I know I called you bad that one time, but more recently I finally actually played you, and I realized how good you truly were. And I could really use some tennis-related help right now. Thanks, NES Tennis.
Oh, you have your own racket now? Well, what are you gonna do when you have nothing to hit me with it?
You may be strong, you may be powerful, super even, but I have something more super. Get spiked! Well, what's going on now?
Well, if I had to guess, that means we're going back to our respective timelines.
That's some pretty good intuition.
You would know.
Thanks, and just a word of advice.
Yeah?
Don't just disappear for 10 months without telling anybody, okay?
Why would I ever do that?
You'll figure it out.
Okay.
Good luck! Oh geez, he still has to go through 2020, doesn't he? Oh hey, I'm finally back! And everything appears to be in order too. Well, I did have to sacrifice Super Mario Galaxy, and even though it was my absolute favorite game of all time, that's okay. There are plenty of other games to play, and maybe now I can finally get around to 100% completing Super Mario Odyssey. What was that? Santa? Ho ho ho! You look skinny, Ho ho ho! I know. The workout regimen I've been on is finally paying off after a couple of centuries. But I'm not here to talk. I've got a bit of a busy schedule tonight. Oh yeah, it's Christmas! Ho ho ho, yes sirree. And I'm also here to tell you you're on the nice list. May I ask how? Well, you were on the naughty list there for a sec, but as an NES tennis fan myself, the fact you changed your mind about it made me change my mind about you. I guess that works. It sure does. Anyway, I got a present for you, and Merry Christmas. Oh, thanks, Well, he's gone. Wonder what he got me. Well, that was the weirdest Christmas of my life, but hey, at least I finally got Super Mario Galaxy back! What's up, it's Mike, and boy, do I have a story to tell you guys!